Video number 8. This one's done by request. This is going to be reactive gamers versus proactive gamers. And this request comes from one of my gamers who's now residing in the great state of Texas. So, what is a reactive gamer? Reactive gamer is one of the people who, they go to game, they pretty much get with their click, and they wait for something to happen. These are the people that are most often guilty of the whole, I'm bored, nothing's happening. Or, is this all we're going to do today? Is anything going to happen? They always come up with those little whiny phrases because they're reactive gamers. It's not always a bad thing, but that means that these are the people who are going to rely on other people to set the tone for what they're going to do for the night, or they're going to rely on the storytellers to be working in overdrive to make sure that, they get their fix. 9 times out of 10, these reactive gamers tend to be the combat monkeys. There's room for those in every game, but there's a limit to that. And usually, if they can be tied in with proactive gamers, it works out pretty well. Werewolf's key for this. A proactive gamer, they make storylines themselves. What we call them player-generated storylines. These are the people who will go out there and they will pursue an agenda. They will take a little tidbit off their character sheet, like a background or a flaw or some such, and they will make it come to life. And they will approach somebody on the staff and they'll say, here's my idea, what can we do with it? Or, hey, don't forget I have this, and you can exploit it at your leisure. Those kind of players are great. Now, there's some misconception as to what a proactive gamer is. In a PvP style game, such as Vampire the Masquerade, leading a coalition that's going to overthrow the prince does not necessarily make you a proactive gamer. If anything, it makes you stereotypical. There is always a faction trying to overthrow a prince at a Vampire the Masquerade game. But being one of those proactive players that tries to teach another character a lesson by creating some elaborate scheme to show them one of their weaknesses, or somebody who's going to look at the fact that they've got a hunted or persistent parents or something on their sheet and they're going to try to push that to the next level. Those are proactive gamers, and when the storytellers come at them with challenges, they're not going to be the ones who are going to whine that they're being picked on by the storytellers or they're getting treated disfavorably or whatever it may be. These are the ones who are going to roll with it. They make the game fun. They're the people who tend to be the stars of the game. For games that do role-playing nominations for the best players, their names are constantly in the mix. Reactive players don't always do that. Now, as I said, not everybody's a reactive player. Sometimes people are reactive in situations. Back in the day when I was going to games and I wasn't running, if I wasn't feeling good, or if I had other things non-game related in my mind, I'd be a reactive player. Because I was just kind of there to be around people and socialize. And that's fine on a case-by-case basis, and we see that occasionally, especially with proactive gamers. You kind of see when they're having an off day. So that's pretty much the gist of my comparison at this point. A proactive gamer is a storyteller, usually a storyteller's dream. I'm not going to say always, because some proactive gamers, usually the proactive metagamers, are a nightmare. Because they go out and try to create stories that can't possibly happen, or in some way twist the rules in a way that is going to make us have to play damage control. Any storytelling staff that has had to play damage control on a major issue knows what a nightmare it is. Any player who has been somewhere in the mix of a damage control session, they know what a nightmare it is. That's when you have the term red line come up. I despise red lines. Red lines are when you basically turn around and said, that could not have happened for this reason, and therefore we have to scrap the whole scene. It's a red line. You're putting a red line through it like a teacher would. I despise that. Now, I have used the term blue line as well. Blue line is when you get a staff that's actually got a little bit of creativeness and ingenuity to it. Something goes wrong, it couldn't have happened this way. A staff will be on the ball, and fairly quickly they'll catch the mistake, they'll catch the problem, whatever it may be, and they'll turn around and they will fix it. They'll rewrite some little tidbit of the scene that makes it make sense, makes it possible to have happened, or changes the thing that should not have happened. Good example was at one point playing a Werewolf the Apocalypse game. One of the narrators allowed a called shot from an NPC to a PC, where basically he was wrestling around on the ground, she was unhurt, and he shot her in the head, and the narrator called her dead. To me, that was not legitimate. It couldn't have done enough damage. She has regenerative capabilities. I don't believe it was a silver weapon even, so yet again another problem, but they called her dead, and everybody thought she was dead, so we rewrote the scene. There was a spirit that was involved that was being freed by them, so we used the spirit to basically, the spirit whisked her away when they thought she was dead, because at the time there was nobody else around. Her and one other person ended up going up against a bunch of people. The other person died legitimately. She did not. The spirit whisked her up, and in the end we basically used her life as a bartering chip from the spirit, so the spirit felt that, I'm going to give her back to you. I owe you nothing now. It made sense, it worked, and the game went on, and we had our continuity, because continuity is key. But that'll be a subject for a later edition of my little videos, at least especially the LARPing type ones. So, well, got a little bit off track. Like I said, this was proactive versus reactive gaming. Kind of went into red line and blue line too, but that about sums it up. So let's get into, let's see if I get any comments on this, and I will respond to them as quickly as possible. And as I said, this was on request, so Megan, I hope you had a kick out of it. If you have anything to say about it, feel free, and I'll catch you guys later.